A response to engineer Yilikal Getnet on Rate Media, exposing the imperial nostalgia at the heart of the Fano movement. Engineer Yilikal Getnet's recent appearance on Rate Media offers what appears to be a passionate defense of the Fano movement, couched in language about patriotism, Ethiopian unity, and resistance. But beneath this patriotic gloss lies a dangerous myth, a myth that not only distorts history but also sacrifices the futures of countless young fighters under the illusion of national glory. Let's dismantle this narrative with facts. 1. The weaponization of myth, a century of manufactured glory. Engineer Yilikal and others in the Fano movement invoke the notion of Ethiopia's 3,000-year history as if it's an eternal, unbroken civilizational identity. But that history is a political fiction. Modern Ethiopia, as an empire, was formed only about 130 to 136 years ago through violent conquest under Menelik II, who forcibly incorporated Oromo, Agor, Punt, Sidama, Somali, and many other independent nations into a centralized imperial structure. Before that, these communities existed as autonomous societies with their own governance, spirituality, and culture. The idea of Ethiopian unity was never about unity, it was about subjugation. Yilikal's rhetoric continues to breathe life into a myth that has been the root of Ethiopia's enduring instability. 2. Amhara was never an ancient nation, it was a linguistic and administrative label. The term Amhara did not originate as an ethnic or tribal identity. It was a linguistic designation, referring to the administrative zones where Amharic, the language of imperial conquest and Orthodox Christianity, was spoken. Today's Fano fighters, many of whom come from Kunt, Ogu, and Oromo communities in places like Goyam, Gondar, Wollo, and Shua, are being misled. These are not Amhara by blood but diverse peoples coerced by myth and political manipulation into defending a manufactured identity. This confusion is no accident. It's the product of deliberate historical engineering, first by the monarchy, then by the Derg, and now by the Prosperity Party and Amhara nationalist elites. 3. Who are the real Fano? Historically, the term Fano referred to localized, diverse, often anti-central resistance fighters, Oromo cavalry, Kunt rebels, and Ogu warriors among them. They were not agents of empire, they resisted it. Today's Fano, tragically, are being recruited by diaspora media like Etio 360 and Zhabisha, not to fight for justice or self-determination, but to defend the relics of the very system that crushed their ancestors. This isn't patriotism, this is indoctrination. 4. Mythical patriotism versus real grassroots resistance. Yilikal lionizes figures like Haile Selassie as national heroes. But history tells a different story. Haile Selassie fled to Britain during the Italian invasion, leaving the real fighting to the Oromo, Somali, Sidama, and other grassroots warriors. Upon his return, with British backing, he didn't restore freedom, he reimposed imperial dominance. The true freedom fighters in Ethiopian history have always emerged from the margins, the Baal Oromo resistance, the Kunt uprisings, and the ongoing Oromo movement, not from the throne rooms of Shoa or Gondar. 5. Eritrea, Oromia, and the Fano paradox. Yilikal accuses Eritrea of destabilizing Ethiopia. And he's not wrong. But what he won't admit is that Eritrea is actively supporting Fano, arming youth to die for an imperial flag they don't understand, in a fight that contradicts their own liberation story. It's deeply ironic. Oromia, long painted as isolated, is the one region consistently resisting imperial nostalgia with ideological clarity. The Oromo struggle is a call for self-determination, not domination. Meanwhile, Fano, a movement made up of historically Oromo, Kunt, and Ogu youth, is being used as a proxy to revive imperial centralism, aided by a foreign power that is openly hostile to Oromo liberation. 6. From warlordism to political absurdity. Yilikal's own interview makes clear that Fano has no ideological cohesion. Why? Because it's based on a hollow identity, Amhara, that was invented for political convenience, not inherited from genuine cultural lineage. Fano doesn't know whether it's a militia, a liberation army, a monarchist outfit, or a civil vigilante group. That's why it's fragmented, chaotic, and vulnerable to being used by foreign and internal power brokers, including Eritrea and the remnants of imperial elites. 7. The global stakes of perpetuating the myth. This is more than a domestic issue. The myth of Ethiopian unity gives cover to genocide, land grabs, and authoritarianism, while donor countries turn a blind eye in the name of stability. But ask yourself, what if that supposed unity is a lie built on blood, erasure, and suppression? And what if peace can only begin by dismantling this dangerous myth once and for all? A final message to the Fano fighters: the Empire never fought for you, it exploited you. And now, its new heirs are sending you to die for a name that once stripped your ancestors of theirs. Fighting for Amhara identity won't bring justice. It will only bring more chaos and loss. You are not Amhara by blood, you are Ogu, Oromo, Punt, and others with proud heritages that deserve truth and autonomy. Reject the myth. Reject the manipulation. Embrace a future built on self-determination, equality, and truth. You deserve to fight for yourselves, not for ghosts in a crown or foreign powers playing regional chess. Engineer Yilikal just tried to build a 3,000-year-old empire on a foundation poured in 1896, someone get him a historical permit. Fano fighters are out here defending a myth so old even Menelik would have said, wait, that's not how I remember it. Meanwhile, Eritrea is backing Fano like a neighbor who borrows your ladder just to steal your roof. Let's stop confusing Amharic with ancestry and crowns with consent. Your great-grandfather spoke the language, that doesn't mean he voted for empire. If this made you think or laugh awkwardly, go ahead and subscribe, share, and keep decolonizing those timelines.